All right, so we're gonna jump back up on the bike. So even though it looks like a very similar day, it's actually 3 years later. And so we originally did this hike in May of 2021. It is now May of 2024. We've returned here because there's some new information about Beardmore that we want to talk about. So we didn't bother doing the first segment in the episode, but we're going to redo all of them down to where we're going to conclude just past Warnford Creek. So before we get going here, a couple of things. You can actually see a newer style metal post, and you can see a round post in the ground. I'm guessing in our proximity to the road, these are the flanger signs for the road, right? So you basically have the old metal tube style, which has been cut off, and then you basically have the newer galvanized style, which has been cut off as well. All right, so let's get going here. There's a lot to talk about here at Beardmore. It's a very busy place. So right off the hop here, we have a small little rock cut that we're going to go through. I'd hoped that the cloud would stick around. It actually, you can look at the grade, it's a little bit wet. It rained this morning, so we actually had to delay starting the hike because of that. And then it was cloudy for the first part, which is great. And then the sun decided to pop out, and it's like, I don't know if it's gonna cloud over again, but for now it's very sunny. So here you can see this rock cut. It's not particularly high. Maybe that part there has got to be 10 feet or so. Again, it's not particularly big. You can see that it's not very uniform. It's just sort of scattered rocks. Again, very shale-like, very fractured and fragmented, and we're going to see that there's a bunch of rock cuts on the other side of Beardmore that we're going to take a look at. All right, so things happen right off the hop here. So here is the start of the siding at Beardmore. So Beardmore was an original station on this line, and it remained a station until the line was taken out of service in 2005. Now, around here somewhere is supposed to be milepost 70. It's obviously not standing. I doubt it's here anywhere. I looked. I didn't see any stub of a pole or anything like that. I'm guessing somebody just pulled the whole sign up out of the ground. So it's somewhere in this area here. Now, we'll stay off the bike because we have something to take a look at right here. Kind of neat. So here we have the water tank at Beardmore, and so Beardmore was one of the locations of water tanks on this line. So on the original line, get out my cheater notes here. On the original line, Beardmore was located at milepost 20.6, and that translates into 70.3 for the Kinghorn. So we're 20 miles from Jellicoe, which was the divisional point originally. And when this line was built, when it opened in 1915, a lot of the locomotives that were being used on here were smaller size locomotives. So 260s, which are known as moguls, 460s, which are 10-wheelers. They had a very limited range. So in particular, their water tank capacity was limited. So what you see on a lot of older rail lines is basically water tanks every 20 miles. So there's a water tank here at 20.6. There's a water tank at Orient Bay, which is 41. And so you can basically see here the very typical layout. So you can see the concrete pad here in the middle. So this was the base of the water tank. You can see the uptake pipe. You can see the pads or the feet or the pedestals for the tank with the, and of course the dog's got to come, right? You can see the dowel right here for the to support the legs. So the other one, so the one on this side is right here. So there's the one that's closest to the grade on the south side, so the southwest one, and then here's the Here's the northwest one, right here. Sorry, the southwest one, and there's the northwest one. And again, you can see the dowel in the middle. So this water tank remained in use up until 1933. So in 1933, quite a number of the water tanks were taken out of service, and the reason why was because by the 1930s, larger locomotives had made an appearance, and the larger locomotives basically could travel farther without having to take on water, and so quite a number of the water tanks were eliminated. So the one at Jellicoe remained, but this one was taken out. The one at Orion Bay remained. The one at Hogarth was taken out. The one at Nipigon remained, right? So all of those intermediary water tanks were pulled out. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll flash you up some timetables here, so you can basically see the 1916 one with the water tank here, and then I'll show you one where it's gone. All right, so let's make our way over here. We're going to hold up because we get yet another thing to take a look at. It's a beautiful day today. It was very chilly to start off, and then the sun came out, and now it's warm. The same thing yesterday happened. We were out hiking on the other side of Jellicoe, and we kind of froze in the morning, and then it got hot. So basically we have a creek that passes under the grade here, and you can see there's a very large diameter concrete culvert. What's interesting is the last time I was here, I fished that out of the creek, and I brought it here. I didn't know what it was at the time. So it's been discolored, but basically that's a permanent slow order sign, right? So obviously there was a speed reduction here in Beardmore as you basically worked your way through the station. So what we're going to do is we're going to reuse the old 2001 footage and basically go down and take a look at the culvert. Okay, so we're down here on the north or west side of the grade, or whatever side of the grade that we're on. And so basically what we have here is this concrete culvert. It might be hard to see simply because of where we're shooting into the sun here. It is a fairly large diameter culvert. You can actually see there's a rail connector right there. You can see the opening here. It's in pretty good shape. Lots of debris down here. Ties, spikes, bits of metal. I don't know if that's just junk that's been kind of thrown in here. So, okay, so we're going to jump back up on the grade and just continue pushing our way through Beardmore here. All right, let's get going here. We'll leave the creek behind. So we're crossing the first of several roads here. So this is known as Railway Drive. So we'll get up to ahead to where the station was, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Beardmore. So here you can see a little of the community. Beardmore is typical of a lot of the communities here along this railway route. Very nice community, very friendly people. Unfortunately, seen a decline in its economic fortunes. You know, there used to be a lot of wood industry here. We saw the old mine that used to be further to the east there at the Empire Mine. So you had mining, then you had forestry, you had the railway that came through here, and so it was kind of a busy place. And you know, obviously the railway's gone, the mine shut down, and so not as many, oh my god, the ballast is brutal here. Not as many things going on as people had seen in the past. Now we do have a point of interest here. I missed it on the way here. I had to double back and go and look for it. So what we have here is a very rare piece of signage, and so you can see the whistle marker for the crossing up there on Railway Drive. So again, these are very rare. You don't really see too many of these. Probably seen a handful, maybe a half a dozen of these on this entire line. So the station here at Beardmore is just up ahead. So around here there would have been a couple of section houses, and those show up on the CN property map, and you can basically see that. Originally I thought that that building over there, the white one, was an old section house because it looks very old, but somebody told me that was moved from somewhere else, so that was not original to here. So there was a couple of section houses, and there were some tool sheds and things like that. And so the station, so there originally wasn't a station building here at Beardmore. Make sure Luna's with us. Did a long hike yesterday, and I think she's sore, and paws are sore, so we don't want to go too hard here. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Beardmore. So Beardmore actually has a very interesting name. Canadian Northern had a I don't want to say a habit, but one of their common things to do was to name stations after people, right? So further to the east we have the station at Neza, which was named after H.T. Hazen, who was one of the engineers in charge of building this line. So Beardmore was originally supposed to be called Hanning, and at some point the name was changed. And the name Beardmore is quite interesting because there's kind of a bit of a significance to it. So let's pull out our cheater notes here and let's talk about it. So this right here, right in this area here, would have been where the station was. So right where you see this building here. So this would have been the station. Originally, again, there was no station located here. The station was added in the 1930s. The station was 1935. The station was added because basically the business that was being generated by the mine, so they had to insert a station. So again, the original name for Beardmore was supposed to be Hanning, but it was renamed, and as I mentioned, there's a significance to the name Beardmore because it actually has a family connection to the president of Canadian Northern Railway. So William Mackenzie was the president and Donald Mann was the vice president, and so Beardmore was the name of his son-in-law, and his name was Walter William Beardmore. And what was interesting is actually Beardmore himself came from a very, very affluent family. So his grandfather was a guy by the name of George Beardmore, and George Beardmore established a business in the city of Acton, which is somewhere north of Toronto, somewhere in that GTA vicinity, the Greater Toronto area. And it was a tannery, and eventually it would become one of the largest tanneries in the British Empire. So again, from a very well-known family. Actually, I haven't seen it since, but I'm not a big drinker, but I actually came across, the last time we were in Beardmore, when we were here, I actually came across I can't remember the company that makes it. Put the link in the description. They actually make a beer called Beardmore. Now, before we go any further here, you can actually see this metal post, and I'm positive that that metal post is actually the one of the metal posts for the signboard here for Beardmore, because I've seen pictures of this area. I think there was one that was given to you by a gentleman by the name of Mike when the railway was running, and you could see the Beardmore sign, and there was a few other ones that I've seen when they were pulling up the rails, and you can see basically the little gazebo here, and basically the signboard, the station board, was right here. Okay, so let's hold up here for a second, and then we're going to make our way across the road and continue on through the rest of Beardmore.